see there's, do you see that as one of the challenges to strategic philanthropy? I mean, this is one of the questions I was thinking about before our session, is that it sounds great, if there's the capital to be deployed, if there's the infrastructure there, what's holding back stronger philanthropy? So is that one of them?
Yeah, it's interesting, just to give you some context to my answer. 13, now almost 14 years ago, got together with a group of business people in the region here and created an entity, a non-profit called the Pearl Initiative, which really embraces corporate governance as a business strength, finds the value creation in adopting better measures of transparency, accountability, and more broadly speaking, corporate governance. And that initiative brought on partners from across the region and worked on a number of different programs. 5 or 6 years into that journey, we had a number of requests from family offices who were in the process of establishing foundations, looking to see if we could adapt some of the outputs and courses and learnings and research to what they were doing in the foundation space. So we looked into whether something like this would be appreciated across the board, and there was overwhelming interest. So we then established this governance and philanthropy program at the time, and still actually in partnership with the Gates Foundation, to help again identify opportunities to build better institutions, whether they're foundations, charities, or even just better principles for giving within the philanthropic sector. And that, in a relatively short space of time, became one of, if not the most popular program. There was some skepticism originally to say that culturally we're not ready for this, because the practices of giving were much more sort of quiet, if you will. And some would say that that was informed by our religious scriptures, some would say that that's just informed by practice over time. I mentioned some of the socio-political challenges as well, so people didn't feel that it was right for them to stick their head above the parapet when they were giving away pools of money, so they'd rather do that much more quietly. But what we noticed is, with the generational shift, those habits started to change. And there are different reasons why. Perhaps the next generation relying a lot more on social media to share pretty much everything they're doing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, means that they become more comfortable sharing perhaps what they're doing with their giving practices. But that certainly shifted. And then you add to that the advent of technology, and then you have this wave of new thinking that's coming into the practice of philanthropy, and that fed into the program. So we found the champions of, whereas with the other programs that the Pearl Initiative was pursuing, you had sort of CEOs and patriarchs and matriarchs of businesses who were championing, on behalf of their companies for those programs. With the philanthropy program, it was mainly the next generation that came on, that saw the value in this and wanted to lead in this space. So I wonder whether this would have been possible, 10 years ago. So I really do think we're at the right time to be talking about this and really moving the needle on it, but also the right place. And I think the UAE really uniquely captures the, again, right time, the right place, and with the right communities and networks. I mean, we've seen many recent examples, not least COP and Expo and others, where the UAE can become a global convener, bringing people together around difficult issues, and at the end of that process, leaving with, at least in the example with COP, with outcomes that simply would not have been possible if we were just talking bilaterally. So the multilateral process, UAE has demonstrated, is not dead, and is possible with the right conducive environment for those conversations and action-oriented outcomes.
So